fighters he beat, and he was on. What? He could have been not clean in a lot of fights.
For all my hard work and for leaving them, you big useless dosser. You've let a little steroid man come up from middleweight and set about you and take all your belts. But he's going to have to take a real British Lancaster.
Take his licence away, because you have to send the right message out to the rest of the people that are out there that think they can actually get away with doing whatever he.
Johnny Nelson drops a bombshell. Is Team Usyk hiding something dark? The moment the cameras start rolling, Johnny Nelson wastes no time. He's not holding back. He's launching a full-scale assault on the narrative surrounding Alexander Usyk's dominant win. While the performance looked clean on the surface, Nelson hints at something far murkier.
Fortunately, there is going to be there needs to be an inquiry straight after this. Why? What? But that's what I'm hearing. This news is as fresh to me as it is you. I'm quite sure when this goes out, it's
underneath. His accusations aren't vague. They're direct, emotional, and laced with urgency. This isn't typical post-fight speculation. It's the spark to a potential firestorm. According to Nelson, whispers about steroids aren't just surfacing. They're credible. He goes further than ever before, strongly suggesting something was actually found in Usyk's.
What I'm saying is what they found in his system. Now this is one thing they've got to find out, this one thing we've got to prove. He's saying this is all I've done, that's what I've done. You know, and if that's adverse, if that's a performance-enhancing drug, then I'm guilty.
System, that claim, still unproven, has the power to shake the sport to its core. If it holds weight, Usyk's legacy isn't just threatened, it could be torn apart. Duke McKenzie joins in with even more venom. For him, cheating in boxing isn't just a violation.
So success, her winning, is a bigger deal than people actually realise. McCaskill come five.
It's a crime. If Usyk's guilty, McKenzie says, he shouldn't just be banned, he should be erased. In a brutal sport where one punch can mean life or death, using performance-enhancing drugs crosses an unforgivable line. Simon Jordan adds fuel to the inferno, not with emotion but with structure. This isn't just a
go through, not just a UCAD procedure, but a national anti-doping procedure, and you get fully cleared. And you know, the argument that frustrates me the most is,
scandal. It's legal territory. Failed tests, procedural accountability, and litigation. If these accusations are backed by real evidence, then Usyk's victories could be undone retroactively. A rematch wouldn't just be for belts. It would be a trial by combat, justice inside the ropes. Then enters Eddie.
Consensus, if you read the responses to everything is, has there been a UCAD ban? There has never been a UCAD ban. There has never been a fine. There has never been a...
Hearn, the only man trying to bring calm to the chaos. Hearn doesn't budge under pressure. His stance, clear and cold. No failed test, no case. He demands proof, not rumors. And without that, he says, Usyk walks clean. But here's the catch. In boxing, public opinion isn't shaped by lab reports. It's shaped by perception. And right now, perception is pandemonium. The Wembley crowd may have watched a masterclass, but with accusations flying, the memory feels tainted. The question lingers, was Dubois simply outclassed or outgunned by something unnatural? And if a rematch does happen, it won't be about just belts and rankings. It'll be about redemption, vindication, and rewriting the story. For Usyk, a second win won't be enough. He'll have to prove his greatness wasn't manufactured. He'll need to shut down the whispers and erase the cloud now hanging over his triumph. For Dubois, it's a shot at revenge, but also
Fury twice, Dubois twice. Unbelievable.
But did you see that you know, they had, it's a little bit out of context here. Hope he doesn't hear it.
Direction. He may have been humiliated in defeat, but now he's armed with something new. Public sympathy. A loss once seen as embarrassing may now be reframed as injustice. And that gives him power, motivation, danger. Eddie Hearn, ever the tactician, described Usyk's win as a tactical dissection. He praised how the champion weathered the early storm, then tore Dubois down methodically. That's a master, Hearn said. That's experience forged in chaos. And if Usyk did it all clean, we may have just witnessed one of the most precise destructions in heavyweight history. But if there's any truth to the allegations, everything changes. That performance transforms from brilliance to betrayal. And the fans, they'll demand answers. The rematch won't just be expected, it will be necessary. A reckoning, not just a sequel. Enter Derek Chisora, who always keeps it raw. According to him, anyone who signs up to fight Usyk must be a bit insane, not reckless, but deluded enough to think they can solve the
You have to be mentally disturbed in your head. Yeah?
You have to be mentally disturbed.
Yeah, because you have to understand.
Well, to take the fight in the first place.
Yeah, because when I saw him a couple of months ago,
yeah,
I had a coffee with him, we were just chatting. The guy lives in Ukraine.
Yep.
Yeah. He goes, oh, before I came on the plane, I was sleeping in my house, and then there was missiles going over my house, and I didn't want to go in the bunker. I was like, I'll just go to sleep. That's some craziness, isn't it? I mean, like, imagine you now, you're in your house in Barna, Timbuktu, and then missiles are going. What are you gonna be like?
Unsolvable. That's what Dubois walked into at Wembley. And yet something strange may have happened in that defeat. He may have discovered a fire more dangerous than ever before. Not just the will to fight, but the need to prove everything was real, fair, and deserved. The next clash, if it happens, won't just be a boxing match, it'll be a battle for legacy. A war to define what's true and what was tainted. Because now, with whispers turning into war cries, Team Usyk doesn't just need another win, they need a clean slate. And Dubois, he doesn't just want redemption, he wants justice with gloves on. Back into the fire, Dubois, Usyk, and the rematch that could change everything were not done. Not by a long shot. The story of Daniel Dubois versus Alexander Usyk is far from over. It's just stepped into a darker, more dangerous chapter. Because now the question...
There's nothing more for him to prove. What is he's in a situation like all good fighters when they start coming to the end of the career. You've got the next gen coming through. You've got your upperties that want to move up and fight him. You've got the young...
Isn't just should they fight again, it's how can they not? What would a rematch really be? A pure test of skill, or a high-stakes battle of minds, motives, and legacy? If Dubois truly wants to step back into the ring, maybe Derek Chisora was right, maybe the man is a little unhinged. But in boxing, that kind of madness, that's the stuff legends are born from. Joe Gallagher doesn't sugarcoat Usyk's brilliance. He says it plain: Usyk has already conquered legends, made killers look ordinary, and cemented a legacy built on dominance. According to Gallagher, Usyk doesn't need to prove anything else, but even he acknowledges the storm forming on the horizon. Because the next generation isn't here to admire, they're here to dethrone. And Dubois, he's still that hungry wolf at the door. But now he's got something more dangerous than hunger. A reason to scream injustice. The steroid allegations swirling around Usyk may still be unproven, but the whispers are growing louder. And if they gain momentum, Gallagher...
Up at the count of 10, and he walked straight past Usyk, straight to the corner, he was completely fine. I think, and you know what, it's horrific to say I've quit. It's not horrific to say I'm quit. I'm chairman of the quit committee. I'm top quitter, I guess. Anyway.
Gallagher's praise begins to sound hollow. That's why a rematch isn't just another fight, it's a reckoning. This isn't a rising star versus an undisputed champion. It's a man trying to reclaim his name while the other tries to silence a shadow. Usyk doesn't need more belts, but now he might need something even greater: redemption from suspicion. And Dubois, he has one chance to rewrite the narrative and prove he never lost clean. This isn't over, not by miles. Dave Allen, ever blunt, laid it bare. In his eyes, Dubois didn't lose. He quit. No injury, no excuses, just turned and walked. And when a heavyweight exits like that, fans don't just question the result, they question the fighter's heart. But what if Allen's wrong? What if there's more to that surrender? What if Dubois knew something wasn't right? What if the punishment didn't feel natural? Maybe that walk wasn't weakness, but silent protest. A way of saying this wasn't a fair fight. Allen ridicules him. But what if Dubois wasn't quitting? What if he was exposing something no one else dared to say? And that's why this rematch matters. Not for rankings, not for titles, but for truth. Dubois wears the label of a quitter. Usyk now walks under the weight of suspicion. Two reputations bruised in very different ways. And the only path to clarity runs through one more fight, with the world watching. No shadows, no noise, just truth under the lights. Even Don Charles, never shy with opinions, was left momentarily speechless. But when he spoke, the word dropped like a hammer. Conned. One word, but it rewrites the narrative. That's not just about losing, it's about being cheated. Combine that with Johnny Nelson's steroid bombshell, Duke McKenzie's call for punishment, and a fan base hungry for answers, and this stops feeling like speculation. It starts to feel like a sport on the edge of a reckoning. And the only way to restore the balance, a rematch, strictest testing, clean stage, High stakes, no excuses, no escape, just truth in the ring, no room for doubt.
Did really well in the third round actually to come back and landed a few right hands, but they were sort of partially blocked. Usyk never really gets hit flush. There was that other sort of low blow type body shot, exactly like the one in Poland, which they sort of shook off. And yeah, unfortunately, Daniel was trying to catch him with the right hand, and it was the right hand that led to the end.
The rematch that could redefine everything. Yes, Dubois was hurt. No one's denying that. But if he was also right, if something felt off in that ring, then this rematch becomes more than just hype. It becomes a moral obligation. Adam Smith, ever the voice of reason, brought composure to the post-fight chaos. He gave Dubois credit for showing grit, especially in round 3. There, Dubois looked like he was turning the tide. He was aggressive, landing shots, pushing Usyk back. But here's the twist. Smith admits most of those punches were partially blocked. So why did Usyk seem to react? Why did it feel like the balance was shifting? And then, just like that, it ended. One right hand clean but not catastrophic, and Dubois was down, but not broken. He stood up, walked off. No wobble, no daze, just gone. And that's what triggered the flood of questions. Did Dubois quit because of pain or protest? The commentary danced around it, but when you line it up with Johnny Nelson's steroid bombshell and Don Charles' blunt statement, they got conned. The cracks in the story begin to show. Dubois didn't collapse. He exited voluntarily.
Parker's deserved his shot. I think Parker should get a world title fight regardless, even if Usyk vacates the belts.
Hands off. Usyk fought like a heavyweight, not a cruiserweight in there tonight.
Yep, no, he did. He stood on business, man. He stood on business, and he said he was going to knock Dubois out, and he...
That changes everything. Maybe he felt something was wrong in there, something he couldn't explain, but couldn't ignore. If so, a rematch doesn't just test his toughness. It puts Usyk's legacy on the line. Because if Dubois steps back into that fire, it's not just to win. It's to prove he wasn't delusional for walking away. That alone makes the rematch a powder keg. Hamza Shiraz sees it differently. No debates, no doubts. According to him, Usyk promised a knockout and delivered. No controversy, no confusion. Shiraz says you could see it in Usyk's body language. Ice cold, locked in, lethal. That, he claims, is what greatness looks like. But that's the contradiction. One side says Usyk cheated. The other calls it a masterclass. So which is it? Did he dismantle Dubois with skill or with something synthetic? Usyk's calm dominance fuels both narratives. Was it ice in his veins? Or chemicals in his blood? That's the divide. That's the fury. That's why this rematch is essential. Because if Usyk was clean, let him prove it again. Louder, sharper, undeniable. And if Dubois believes he was crushed unfairly, then nothing will matter until he gets his shot at justice. The heavyweight division needs closure.